Hey everyone, this is Jordan Adams again. This is week 2 update of my internship in Tokyo. I've been here for around 3 weeks now, and I just finished my second week of my internship. So far, it's going really well. I'm getting a lot of work done. Um, right now it's Saturday, so I just finished my second week. Um, as far as the update goes, there's not too much different. It's not too much different than the first week. I'm going to work from 9 to 6. Sometimes I'm getting off a bit early because I finish my work. Then I've been, I get dinner, I chill out at my apartment, then I go to the American Club most of the time, or sometimes I just go to bed early. Um, but not too much different. I've been exploring the area, finding new restaurants that I think are really good. Um, but what I mainly wanted to do this video is expand on transportation. I talked about it a little bit in my last video, but I think it's one of the most important things you gotta get down if you plan on staying in Tokyo or just going on vacation. Um, I talked about the pass that you can use for the bus and train or subways last time a little bit, but I think that I need to cover it a bit more in this video. So obviously, my most common form of transportation is walking. Walking, you know, you're walking everywhere. Even if you want to go to the bus or the train, or go on the train, you gotta walk to the stations. You gotta walk to the bus stops. Just if you plan on exploring your area that you're living at, you're walking all the time in Tokyo. Especially if you're a tourist, you're not going to be driving. You're going to be walking most of the time. So what I recommend is getting a nice, comfortable pair of running or walking shoes. Another convenient option for transportation is the taxi. The taxi I recommend when you're in a time crunch or you want to go somewhere that's not super far but not close enough that you would want to walk. Taxis are a lot more expensive than the bus and trains or subways. Uh, you know, it obviously it depends on how far you're going, but it can get pretty expensive. Basically how the taxis work is you want to wave one down and it'll come stop for you. There's taxis all over Tokyo. But what you want to look out for is on the front or the top of the taxi, there's going to be a sign that tells you whether it's vacant or not. You want to make sure you're getting a vacant taxi, of course. The sign, if you can't read Japanese like myself, you can still tell because the sign, if it's glowing green, if it has green words, then that means there's someone in it right now, so they're not going to stop for you. But if the sign has red letters, glowing red letters, then that means it's vacant and they'll stop for you, they'll take you. And basically, you tell them where you want to go, they'll bring you there. And at the end, they accept cash or credit cards, so that's pretty convenient, but it is a lot more expensive than the other two options. Um, One of the other two options is the bus. The bus I take most of the time actually. The bus is my most common form of transportation. I have some notes about it here too. Usually it can be for nearby places or very far places as well. There's tons of bus stops all over Tokyo. You'll recognize them by either kind of a small cover with ads for the rain, or usually there's just a small stand that's about 7 feet tall. It's usually a dark green color and it has a white kind of circle shape at the top. You'll recognize it. Usually there's a small line of people waiting for it. The bus, it depends, where you're going, where it stops. But usually for me, it hasn't been super crowded. Usually I find a place to sit in the bus, but if not, they still have the rails you can hold on to and stand up. Obviously, bus, there's going to be traffic sometimes, so it might arrive a bit early, it might arrive a bit late. You might get to your destination a bit early, you might get there a bit late. I'd say give yourself around 3 to 5 minutes of kind of leeway. So maybe if you need to get to the bus, if you need the bus, get there maybe a couple minutes early because sometimes I've seen the bus get there a bit early. No, sometimes it gets there pretty late. Um, so for the bus stops, if you get to the pole or the stand area, basically you'll find somewhere. It's usually around the middle of the pole or posted up out in the stands, and it has info about the times of each bus, the times they come, the map of each bus route, and it will show the locations that it stops at with Japanese and English. And basically, how the times work, you're gonna find the bus you want to take, find the destination you want to go and see which bus takes you there. And you want to find the corresponding paper of the bus. So it'll say the bus number at the top of the paper, and it'll show you the weekdays, the Saturday and Sunday, and the corresponding times. So you have to make sure that you're there at that time. The bus will go there. As I said, sometimes they're a couple minutes early, sometimes they're a couple minutes late. Um, but basically, when the bus comes, you're gonna see at the top of the bus, or sometimes at the side too, the bus number, and you want to make sure you get on the right bus. That will, because different buses take you to different places, and usually if you're going in one direction, there's a bus stop here, but the same bus will come in the other direction across the street, and usually across the street there's the same pole, the bus stop. When you get on the bus itself, there's going to be a screen at the top usually, and it's gonna the guy's gonna make announcements, and the screen's gonna show you what stop you're coming to, what's the next stop, and if you plan on getting out at the next stop, you're gonna have to press a button. There's buttons all over the bus that says you want to stop there, and it'll light up, and you get off at your stop. He announces it. The door opens, so you get off. And the bus for an adult or kind of a bigger person, it's 210 yen, and for little children, it's 110 yen, I believe, maybe 105. But for me, it's 210 yen. So, um, oh yeah, sorry. For bus, you can either use cash, or cash or coins. You can dispense coins into a little thing or put in cash and it'll give you your change. Or you can use a little card and tap it. I'll talk about that a bit more for the trains and subways. So the next and last one are trains and subways. So subways, uh, for most people, they're the most common form of transportation. There are subway entrances slash exits all over. Basically, you want to go down, and you're gonna try to get into you're gonna find where people are coming from, and basically there's these entrance slash exit bars slash stands. I don't know what to call them, but basically you want to tap your card or your phone or put in a ticket, and it'll let you through or let you out depending on if you're exiting or entering the subway. And once you get in, there's going to be signs all over saying what lines there are. So for the subways and trains, there's many, many lines. There's, for example, the Ginza line, the Yamamote line, the Namboku line, and they take you to different places. But let me talk about the entrance stands a bit more. So right next to the stands, there's going to be ticket booths. So if you don't have a card or your phone or the app to scan it, you're going to go to that ticket bar, you're going to select how many people, what type of ticket you want to buy, and then you're going to put the ticket through, and you're going to save that ticket and put it back through the exit gate once you get out. And sometimes you have to recharge it because you bought the cheapest ticket, and instead of 180 yen, it was 220 yen. So you have to kind of rebalance the ticket. So that's why I find the card to be a lot more useful. Oh, for subways, usually the charge ranges from around 180 yen to 250-ish yen. So it's pretty similar to the bus, and it can get pretty crowded sometimes, especially the bigger lines, or especially after a big stop like Shibuya. Um, like I said, there's a lot of different lines that you're gonna see. There's the Namboku line, the Ginza line, the Yamamote line. There's a lot more others, and they bring you to different places. They have different stops, and um, for the card and the app, I did some research about it. The card, I heard different things about it. Some places in Tokyo, they're discontinued. You can't buy them, but you can still find them some places and you can still buy them. And I recommend that. It's the most useful way. You can recharge them. Basically, you put them at the ticket booth, you slide it in, and you select how much yen you want to recharge it for. You can do cash, and you put it in, and it recharges your card. And each time you scan your card, it tells you how much is left in it. For the phone app, that's a bit more complicated. I talked to some people about it. Apparently, you need a Japanese app store first thing, and it also requires you to set it up with a Japanese credit card or that you have a Japanese bank account, which I obviously don't have any of. So I couldn't set up the app, but I do have the card, which makes it a lot easier. I can use that for the bus, I can use that for the train, I can use that for the subway. Um, where is this one? So basically, when you find the line you want to go to, for example, if you want to go to Shibuya, you or maybe you want to go to Ginza, you want to take the Yamamoto line. There's signs all over. They're in English and Japanese. And then you get there and you go down, and there's two sides of the subways. One's going in one direction, one's going in the opposite direction. And how you tell which one you want to get onto is you're gonna see a map of the of the stops and your destination. And the bold side, they're gonna have one side in bold letters and one side in kind of faded letters. The bold side means it's going in that direction, and you want to make sure your destination's in bold. If not, you want to go to the other side, look at the map, and the other side is going to be bold. And if your destination's there, you're going to want to go on that. Um, like I said, the different lines take you to different places. They have different stops, so make sure you get onto the right line. Before you get onto any of the specific line areas, there's going to be a general map that shows you all the different stops, all the different lines. So you're going to kind of want to spend a minute there to make sure which line you want to go on to or which direction you want to go to, obviously. But what I also found is using Google Maps. If you type in your destination and where you start from, your location, it will tell you exactly which line to go to. So it'll tell you, go on the Namboku line and get off at this destination. So that makes it really easy for me. Um, yeah, and when you get on the train, there's going to be a screen that shows you each stop you're going to, the map of where you are so far. And when you get to your destination, it'll announce it. It will open the doors. It'll be pretty easy to identify. They'll tell you in English and Japanese. The screen will show you in English and Japanese. So yeah, that's it. What I and trains. Sorry, trains. They're a bit similar to subways, not so much. Trains are above the ground, subways are beneath the ground. Some of the trains become subways halfway through, some of the subways become trains halfway through, so you might start down beneath the ground and end up, above the ground. Trains are a similar cost to subways, 180 yen to 250 yen-ish. Um, Usually trains are for taking you to further places, maybe if you're traveling for a long time to a very far away place, maybe outside of Tokyo. Um, the train stations, they're not going to be below the ground like the subway stations. They're pretty easy to find. Just plug them into Google Maps or ask someone. Um, but yeah, that's what I have for transportation. Um, yeah. So thank you. I'll see you next video.